Alright, I'm going to talk to you about real numbers, and there are two types of real numbers. There are rational numbers and there are irrational numbers. Irrational numbers cannot be written as a fraction. These are numbers like pi. We've talked about pi before. Pi goes on forever. Square root of 2, square root of 11. These are numbers that aren't perfect squares. Those are irrational numbers. Somebody today said that they're awkward numbers, and that's a good way of thinking about it. They're just kind of awkward. You're not really used to them. They're just kind of different, okay? Rational numbers can be written as are numbers that can be written as fractions, and this is fractions and decimals. So pretty much fractions and decimals, for the most part, are considered rational numbers. They're fractions and decimals. They can be written as a fraction. Integers are your positive and negative whole numbers. Integers are just positive and negative whole numbers, and again, integers are considered a rational number, and rational numbers are real numbers. So then you've got whole numbers. Whole numbers are 1, 2, 3, and so on, but include the number 0. If a number is considered a whole number, it's also considered an integer, and it's also considered a rational number. Then you have natural numbers. Natural numbers are your counting numbers. Like if I gave you a stack of papers and I said start counting them, you would start with 1, 2, 3, and so on. You wouldn't start with 0. So that's the difference. 0 is the only difference between natural numbers and whole numbers. And if a number is a natural number, it's everything above it. So it's also a whole number, it's also an integer, it's also a rational number. So if I gave you the number negative 25, and I asked you to classify this number, tell me what it is. Well, it's not a natural number, and it's not a whole number, but it is an integer. So because it's an integer, it's also considered a rational number. So you would call negative 25 an integer, and a rational number. If I gave you the number 0, 0 is considered a whole number, an integer, and a rational number. The number 10,000. Sorry, that looks funny, right? It's considered a natural number, but because it's a natural number, it's a counting number. You could count all the way up to 10,000. It's also a whole number, it's also an integer, and it's also a rational number. So just make sure for this unit that you are able to classify different numbers that I give you, whether they're rational or irrational, and if they are rational, what kind of specific rational number is it?